Consider this. When a girl from a little Iowan town steps onto the court, everyone in the basketball world can't keep their eyes off it. That's Caitlin Clark's story. Now, TV networks are being urged by the NBA to pay $200 million for the WNBA's rights. How did we get here? Let's look at how Clark went from being unknown to unbeatable. Please click like on this video. If you want the WNBA and Caitlin Clark to overtake the NBA, you need scoring records. Clark broke them like glass ceilings. She became the all-time leading scorer for the NCAA division-wide basketball team. Women are men. Do you believe it is feasible? Legends like Pete Maravich and Kelsey Plum, an Iowan lady from a small town, were outscored. But there were other factors to take into account besides the figures. Clark had an amazing ability to make shots that seemed difficult look easy. Remember that three-pointer against Louisville with the Elite 8 logo? At that one, she was nearly in the parking lot. That shot wasn't the only thing that won the game. In relation to breaking the internet, it did exactly that. Let's talk about Clark's social media success. Her highlight tape went viral faster than gossip in a small community. Well, but lots of players go viral true. You may be thinking, but Clark's notoriety was more than just a fleeting trend. It resulted in real, measurable impact. She's smashing half-court buzzer beaters 1 minute, and then she's getting millions of views on Twitter. The fact that her games were drawing 3 to 4 times as many viewers as regular WNBA games is not just impressive. When was the last time you saw people fighting for tickets to a women's collegiate basketball game where Clark was playing? The arenas were completely sold out. It was more than just in Iowa when she performed on the road. It was like a rock star visiting the area. What makes Clark so special? You may be wondering now. Not only is her skill amazing, but so is her playing manner. Her unrestrained, daring style is simply breathtaking to witness. She's threading an unbelievable pass one moment. She's coming from the city center. She never knows what she'll do next. But you know it's going to be fantastic. Things start to become intriguing at this point. Clark's celebrity is changing more than just how women's basketball is viewed. It's changing the way they think. Individuals who had never given women's basketball much thought are now taking notice, buying jerseys, and talking about the game the next day at work. The NBA commissioner even recognized Adam Silver Clark's influence, effectively saying, "Hey, this girl is changing the game, we need to pay attention." As a result, the NBA started to pressure the WNBA for greater visibility, better coverage, and larger deals. You may have heard about the incredible rise to prominence of Caitlin Lynn Clark. However, did you know that she is also correcting a long-standing problem for the WNBA? Indeed, precisely. The league has had trouble drawing supporters and being financially stable since its inception. A lack of skill is not the cause of Oregon Games' attraction. Even though the WNBA had some of the best athletes in the world, it wasn't getting enough recognition. Before Clark gets there, let's analyze it. The WNBA's media rights pact was worth only $60 million a year. In the world of professional sports, the NBA's media agreement is worth billions of dollars, so that may sound like a lot. It was hard for the WNBA to clean up after themselves. Why is the price so low? Really, it all comes down to watching. On average, only 200,000 to 400,000 people watch WNBA games. That kind of number isn't really what defines television. Networks want to open their wallets. An example of the traditional chicken and egg dilemma. The league required more attention to increase its viewership, but it was unable to improve TV ads that don't have a wider audience. So what changed? What actual impact did Clark's popularity have on the league's bottom line? Clark's games draw 3 to 4 times as many viewers as regular WNBA games, as you may remember. But it's more than simply an amusing fact. The GameShare TV network suddenly realized that there was a sizable untapped audience for Women's Basketball Day. The perfect celebrity was all that was needed to attract them. In Clark, she is more than just a star. She's a supernova. Things start to get really exciting at this point. Many thanks to Clark. More national television attention will soon be given to the new WNBA team, the Indiana Fever. Isn't it amazing that 36 of the 40 regular season games will now be broadcast on national television? This is not merely a small boost. It is a significant shift in coverage. Think about what this means. Suddenly, millions of fans who would not have ever watched a WNBA game will be flocking to see Clark play. And after they start watching, they might discover that this league is indeed rather fantastic. But there are other problems besides the fever. Clark's popularity keeps growing. All boats. More is going to other teams. The league as a whole is being brought to light by the Clark effect. Moreover, there are other factors besides TV ratings. Social media engagement has never been higher. Merchandise sales are booming. The number of tickets sold is soaring. As if Clark had flipped a switch, everyone realized at once how entertaining women's basketball might be. All right, you might be thinking, but is this just a temporary boost? What happens when the novelty wears off? It's a valid question. NBA demand, but this is the issue. Not just casual viewers are drawn to Clark. She's attracting loyal fans. Because of Clark's incredible athleticism, the thrilling games, and his pure love of sports, fans come back to watch him. This type of publicity has been long awaited by the WNBA. There are multiple players participating. It is presenting the league to a new public in its entirety. As soon as people realize what they have been missing, they develop an addiction. Remember how we talked about Clark's impact on viewership? But that was just the warm-up. Now that the NBA is taking control, they aren't playing around there. The WNBA is requesting $200 million for its broadcast rights. Have you heard? $200 million. Isn't that absurd? That is over 3 times the amount of the previous arrangement. A small bump has nothing to do with this. This is a significant move that might completely transform the WNBA. However, why the enormous leap? It all comes down to how famous Clark is. Hold up, the NBA said, observing the drop in viewership. We're sitting on a gold mine here. They saw that Clark was more than just a trend. She was attracting fans, sparking discussion, and most importantly, proving that there was a sizable market for women's basketball. You may now be asking yourself, I'm okay, but why is the NBA pushing for this? Things start to become intriguing at this point. The NBA isn't just watching from afar. The Endeavor Group was actively advancing the WNBA's financial interests when they made their initial offer of $125 million. The NBA didn't just nod and say, thank you. They evaluated that offer and said, nope, not enough. They knew the WNBA was worth more, so they weren't afraid to demand things. What does this remind me of, do you know? It is comparable to the situation in which you are selling your car and someone makes a lowball offer, but you have an automobile-savvy friend who tells you, no, this baby's worth way more than that. At the moment, the NBA is assisting the WNBA with that. But here's the real kicker. This deal is about more than simply the money. Protecting the WNBA's future is the aim. It is possible that the agreement under discussion will be enforced from 2026 until 2036. That equates to a decade of prospective expansion and economic stability. Think about the possible effects on the league. Improved facilities, increased marketing budgets, greater funding for player development, and the ability to attract elite players from around the world. This is more than just a paycheck, it's a game share. Do you know who said it? The finest Adam Silver is the NBA commissioner. He has been very vocal about Clark's impact on the league. He's basically saying, hey, we've got something special here and we need to capitalize on it. But let's be honest for a minute. There are other people involved besides Caitlin Clark. She could be the cause. However, revaluing the WNBA overall is the aim of this agreement. It ultimately comes down to recognizing that women's basketball deserves this level of support and attention. You might wonder, what does this mean for the players? Think of yourself as a little girl throwing baskets in your driveway right now. By the time you're ready for the WNBA, you may be looking at salaries that are triple or even quadruple what they are now due to this deal. That has the power to transform the lives of more than just individual gamers. It is completely changing the sport. Let's now talk about this $200 million contract's actual effects on women's basketball. We're not only talking about a select group of elite players receiving more salaries. The sport could undergo a radical change as a result. First, let's talk about money. The WNBA players' long-standing underpayment is about to change significantly. Due to this new deal, players' salaries might increase, or perhaps quadruple. Man, suppose you make $100,000 a year, and then suddenly make $400,000. That sum of money has the power to transform your life. It extends beyond the players who are presently in the league, though. Think about all the